Hello and welcome to Nirmal Bang, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hiran Dadia. We have with us Gopal Sarda, Group CEO at Kolte Patil, joining in. Welcome to the show, Gopal, and a very good afternoon. My first question coming to you is firstly, congratulations as well, because the expectation with regards to Q4 earnings, especially for real estate companies, is also meager. But when we see your performance, you have booked good sales. The collections have been really strong as well. In fact, it's been the highest in the company's 3 decade history as well, and you have closed the financial year with positive sales as well. If you could just help us understand what led to this kind of a performance.
Sure, Hiral. Thank you for the opportunity, Hiral. I think what we believe is that I think a 360-degree business approach is very, very important. And we believe that a real estate company needs to operate like a manufacturer rather than a real estate company. So buy, construct and sell at a faster pace. You have to ensure that your overall ecosystem is operating at a nice efficiency, because now the land prices are not moving up, the sales prices are not going up, and you not have to trap under a debt burden, or you are going into more of a land acquisition which you don't require from your production and sales capabilities. So we believe the right mix. We believe that financial acumen, business acumen is important. And around that, what we believe is that one has to keep on selling the inventory at the market pace and at the market prices. So we don't hold too much on the inventory fund. We don't go into that price increase sort of strategy. We try to believe offloading inventory at a regular speed. So to generate this kind of sales performance, I think we as an organization have revived ourselves in last 3-4 years. We have created a tech platform. We have created a digital platform. We are tracking each and every lead of the customer, and we are tracking the consumer behavior and pattern. And we are coming up with the products which consumer are looking for, and we are not building a product which we think that are the right products for the market. So the kind we have invested 16-17 crores in SAP and advanced CRM for the organization as a whole. And today we are getting so much of information on a click of button, wherein we are, as I said, we are tracking consumer behavior and pattern, and basis which our products, our offerings are there, and we are generating good sales. So there is a good brand recognition and positioning in the market. People have a lot of trust on our brand, and we believe to deliver the products on time. So once you have the complete ecosystem which is working for all the stakeholders, and your intention are good, you are very transparent, and you are taking care of your customer in terms of their experiences, and you are transparent in terms of your other communication offerings. And what we believe is that the right communication is very important. Sometimes you have to have only offers or only price is not going to give you the sales. You have to educate your customer. You have to talk more on the product front and ensure how you can build the financial closure from them also. So in terms of their, sometimes you have to be flexible on the payment schedule. Sometimes you have to be have a tie up with the banks. So we minutely track and build that ecosystem which is bringing good sales to the organization. And if you have seen that from 2017 to 2020, we have grown manyfold in all the parameters. So by March 17, we were 87 crore PAT company. By March 2020, we have reached to 148 crore. From a collection perspective, we were 965 crore, and we have reached to 1368 crore. And on a top line perspective, also from a 865 crore, we have reached to 1226 crore. So organization is growing day by day. I think had it been the case, this kind of situation would not have come, like a COVID-19. We were hoping for the next level of jump in next couple of years also. Now the focus would remain that we will bring the operational capabilities to the normalcy, and then we will again continue to the growth journey.
Right. So with this, in terms of FY20, we have met our guidance as well. The other constraint that the industry as a whole has been facing has been liquidity. Now, with this, if we see for Kolte Patil, you reduced your debt by almost around 83 crores. If you could just help us understand where does it stand right now in terms of the net debt, and what is the reduction plan in FY21 as a whole?
Sure. So I think for the financial year 20, we have reduced our net debt by 83 crore, as you rightly said. So currently we are at 484 crore as a net debt number. Plus we have cash and cash equivalents to the tune of 98 crores. And by March 15, we have also raised an invoices to the tune of 145 crore, and which has been forwarded to all the customers. So that collection is also flowing into the system. I believe on the debt reduction front, Hiral, I think that would be a function of your operational performance. So currently, the industry as a whole are facing two challenges: one on the production front and second on the registration front. Because you know that the labor is a big constraint. We were operating at a 5,000-ish sort of labor strength pre-COVID, and now in this last 2-3 months, the labor strength has gone down to a 30-35% level.
Okay.
So the construction pace is not at the same level like we were enjoying pre-COVID. We are at still 35-40%, and registrations were completely stopped in that March, April, and May month, and now recently it has started picking up. So registration is important because a new sale needs to be registered, then only the collection flows from the bank. And likewise, our existing registered sales, we have to do the continuous slab casting wherein the collection flows. So we believe that this year we will not be having any kind of debt reduction program. On the contrary, the entire ecosystem and team will focus to bring back the operational capacity to the normalcy. So let's assume, suppose we were at 100% pre-COVID, and currently in terms of sales, we are back at 60-65%. Collections we are back at 35-40%, and construction we are at again 40%. So the idea would remain to bring back the overall parameters to 80-90%, and then focus on the growth journey. While doing so, in this journey, if there are some business development activities or proposals which are coming on our table, which are in the nature of JV, JDs, or profit sharing, so we are keen to evaluate under an asset light model. So we don't want to go into buying 200-400 crore land parcels on an outright basis. Rather, we will preserve some cash to revive the operational capability, and 6 to 9 months down the line, we will again focus to continue the growth journey which we have decided for the organization.
Right. So overall, if you have to look at FY21 as a whole, now it's not only real estate sectors across are going to face issues. Now, what they are saying is that if this year is going to be a washout, we're just hoping to break even, if not make profitability. And I mean, it's a given, and it's not across India, it's across the globe as well. But majority of the companies are talking of it. So for real estate as a sector and for Kolte Patil, what's the kind of growth guidance or growth outlook you have for this year?
So as I said, Hiral, earlier, I think for this year, we would try to match up 80-90% of our last year performance, because see, Q1 has already gone from our hand. So, and as I said, in terms of collections, construction, and sales, we need to revive. So we believe for the financial year 21, we would achieve 80% of our targets in all the parameters, maybe pre-sales, maybe collections, and maybe on the operations spend. And if you'll ask me about industry as a whole, I don't think people will be able to match up even last year performance. Industry at whole will remain at 50% of financial year 20 numbers. So whatever numbers industry delivered for financial year 20, as a whole, I don't think more than 50% will be able to deliver for financial year 21. It will take another 6 to 9 months to revive the things. So this year would be like 50-60% of the last year's performance. And March 21 onwards, if things comes to normalcy like we are seeing on a month-on-month basis, then probably at least the branded players or the top 10 or top 15 of the we call it the Indian real estate segment, I think those people will be reviving very fast, because we believe that this is the second phase of consolidation. The earlier phase was RERA, Demon, and GST, and then in between liquidity crisis, NBFC issues, and now this is the second phase of consolidation, wherein organized branded developers or those who have an appetite or bandwidth to deliver larger projects, they will be coming up with the flying colors, is what I believe.
Right. So right now, in terms of the unsold inventory which is ready to move in, where does it stand for Kolte Patil?
So Kolte Patil, if I have to give you a gist on the portfolio front, we have 26 million square feet of entire portfolio. Out of 4.5 million is ongoing and unsold. We have 5.5 million under approvals, and then we have 16-17 million square feet as a land bank. As of today, by March 2020, if we take, we have a RTMI inventory to the tune of 250 to 270 crores, which is majority of that 60 crore. We have only the retail portion at a Western Avenue project, and then we have one project called Raga at Bangalore, and our Mumbai-based project Jai Vijay at Vile Parle East. These are the three projects wherein we have the RTMI inventory. which we will try to offload. So on a ballpark number basis, somewhere around 250 to 270 crore worth of stock.
Right, and by how much time do you think you will be able to offload this inventory worth 250 to 270 crores?
We believe that in next 9 to 12 months we will be able to offload the entire inventory, because most of the bookings which we have done earlier and in last 3-4 months, whatever walk-ins we have seen, you know that customers also very smart. They also know that the project is going to obtain the OC and they can save on the GST front. So there is a lot of interest. People have showed their expression of interest, and they were waiting for the occupation certificate to come, and then they want to book so that they can enjoy that GST benefit, and they are sure that they don't have to pay the EMI as well as rentals. So we believe that in next 9 to 12 months we should be able to offload the entire inventory.
Right. And if you have to look at FY21 as a whole, how much construction are you expected to undertake?
So I think if you see the last 2 years average run rate, so we were like 650 to last year we did somewhere around 600-ish crore, and before that we did 650 crore. I believe on an absolute number basis, I think this year we will be able to close somewhere around 400 to 450 crore, because quarter 1 we have seen a lot of there was hardly any progress. So believe on a spend basis for the entire year, even if we come back to 60-65% as an average operating capacity, we would not be able to surpass spending more than 400 to 450 crores.
Okay. And from here on as well, if you have to look at different regions in Pune, Bangalore, and Mumbai, these three are your focus areas right now. Where are you seeing higher traction? What is the kind of segment which is doing well in these three regions?
So if I have to give you the analysis on all the three regions, let me go one by one. So Pune as a market wherein we have 80% of the portfolio. So Pune is a home ground. We are the largest developer of Pune, and there's a phenomenal demand across. So like affordable to mid income, Pune is showing excellent performance. A project like Life Republic, we have sold this year also 1.05 million square feet, and last year also we have closed 1 million. So a single project on a consecutive basis continuously 2 year we are selling 1 million square feet. So affordable would be your 38 to 40% contribution. 38 to 40% would be MIG. 15% would be your 24K contribution, and 5-10% would be your retail and office spaces. So as a market, I think on a project basis, if you want to generate 75-80,000 square feet, I think you have to be a less than 50 lakh product. If you want 25-30,000 square feet sort of 100, you have to be in that 50 to 80 lakhs. And above 1 crore is like 20,000, and above 2 crore is hardly like 10,000 ish. So as I said earlier also, it's some product mix. For 2 crore and above inventory, you won't be able to sell more than 5-6 units in a month. While for less than 50 lakh inventory, you will be able to sell 100 plus units in a month. So that would be the scenario at Pune. Bangalore would be similar to Pune. Bangalore also a stable market, good volume at between 35 to 85 lakh. There's not much portfolio under affordable, because if we see Bangalore as a whole, I think all the products are usually 5,000 onwards. They don't have 3,500 or 4,250 sort of products. So Bangalore is more of a MIG market. There we are doing a good job. I think last year also we did approximately 3 lakh square feet of sales in 2 projects. Bangalore, we need to acquire more project and launch, and then probably we would be able to comment on the kind of contribution we can generate. Mumbai per se, I have a different opinion. I believe that up to 3 crore, 3.5 crore inventory, I think that we will be able to move. Beyond 5 crore, between 5 to 10 crore, you will see somewhere around 8 to 10% sort of reduction, and 10 crore above, I think that's the most difficult inventory wherein the significant reduction we can expect to the tune of 20%, which most of the industry players are also saying. So beyond 10 crore inventory, either we can't even have any forecasted number for that, or even if the sales is going to move, it will move with a substantial discount. But yes, suburban markets like Eastern Belt, Western Belt, Thane, Navi Mumbai, Vashi, up to 2.5-3 crore, 1, 2 and 3 BHK products, these products will continue to move irrespective of this pandemic situation. Maybe initial couple of months you see 60-70% of the traction, but in a year's time it will come back to the normalcy, is what I believe.
Right. And with this on the construction side of it, as you already mentioned earlier as well when we were talking, Gopal, that there have been concerns, troubles that you have been facing on the labor front. How long do you think will that take? Because we know that the migrant community itself has gone back. So infrastructure as a sector has been facing this issue. Now, the other question that arises over here is to get back labor. Uh, the other question is, do you think you will have to pay them higher wages? And if that happens, that immediately increases your employee cost, which then impacts your margins. Do you see a scenario like this actually coming in?
So I'll agree, partially agree with your thought process. I'll just give you my thought process or what I believe on this. See, first and foremost, obviously, labor is a current challenge, and I think a lot of developers are open for some sort of pampering to the laborers. Like some developers are booking their tickets. Some I have heard somewhere that one complete flight has gone to pick up one set of laborers, and in Mumbai, one of the developers has asked them to resume. So I believe probably for next 3 to 6 months we have to take care of labor in terms of about their tickets, in terms of about little higher wages, but that's not going to impact substantially. So I believe 2 to 3% construction can cost can go up for a couple of quarters, but in a larger interest it makes sense to incur that cost and take care of your operational capability. See, one way you have to justify your overall infrastructure, which includes your current debt, which includes your admin setup, employee costs, and second, there are RERA commitments. So you cannot say that I'll sit idle. The meter is on. You have to complete the projects as per the RERA timeline. Your current infrastructure needs to get justified. So in that sense, I think construction cost rise of 3 to 4% for a couple of quarters is okay, but the show must go on and the production should move on. This is the one aspect. Labor will come back. Definitely they'll come back, but it may take 9 months to 12 months time. So probably currently we see that from 30% to 40%. Yes, one set of labor has already started coming up. Second set will come in next 3 4 months. But yes, if we are expecting the original peak, then it may take 9 to 12 months time. But gradually things will come back to the normalcy and production has to move on. Is what I believe.
Right. And on the average realization front, where do you see that settling in if you have to look at the current year?
Yeah, sure. So, Hiril, if you see currently, probably in terms of last couple of quarters, we are in the range of 5200 to 5600. And as I said, APR is a function of product mix because we operate in affordable MIG 24K retail offices, township projects. So, if some months or some quarters, if the 24K product or the retail spaces are contributing, you will see a spike in the APR. While a campaign like recently 6 months back we did a campaign called Zabardast. That time we have generated 500 600 units at Life Republic. So that means the township contribution coming at a 5,000. So APR will go down. As such, there is no price cut. The prices are stable from not only last couple of quarters, but it's been stable from last 12 15 quarters. And we believe that prices will remain stable, but the product mix will derive the APR realization for the organization. And one more thing which I would like to add, Mumbai contribution has yet not started at a peak. So probably we have Jai Vijay unsold inventory and the new 3 projects, which at Dahisar West, Borivali West, and Goregaon West, aggregating to a top line of 1100 crore. Once that started contributing, we will definitely surpass 6,000, 6,500 as an APR price for the organization.
Right. But another thing is, Gopal, the trend that we've been witnessing, especially in terms of where the Bombay market goes, is I'm not talking about the organized branded players, even the smaller players who are in the system right now, who have even some amount of inventory, maybe the mid segment, maybe the luxury segment, they're all ready to give away inventory, say, with a discount of almost 35 to 40%, even some places where it's ranging to 45%. Now, if there is this kind of distress sale happening amongst competition, because what I'm trying to get over here is that, for example, you take the Villaparle property for Kolde Patil. Now, simultaneously, there are a lot of projects which are adjacent to that as well, which are being developed by the local guys, the smaller players. Now, if they are ready to give away that inventory at the 30 to 40, 45% kind of discount, don't you think that's something which could impact your business of the organized sector as well?
So I think, see, this is not the scenario today. Now, if you have to compare the market as such, so there are 3 sets of developers. One are a group, second is a B group, and the third is a C group. I think what we have to look at is that customers are also very prudent. They have realized the brand value. And in recent past, if you see in last couple of years, I think branded players are the one who are selling with a volume and with a price what we call a premium compared to others. So even at Pune markets, if you see a project called Western Avenue, currently we are selling at 6850 per square feet. Vis-a-vis the entire Wakad belt is at 6,000 ish. And in spite of 800 rupees premium, we have sold with a velocity. So it's a function of three things. One about product, layout, and quality of the developer. So customers are smart. The one who believes that he wants to stay at a layout project, quality product, and he wants to buy only a branded house, he will definitely come to us. And what we believe is that our competition is not with the B or C grade developers or a local developers who are cutting the prices. Anyway, that scenario is going on. Not today, it's been last 2-3 years. Somewhere, some developers are ready to give 15%, 20% discount. But that was not the scenario with a branded place. If you see at the Bangalore market like Prestige, Shobha, Brigade, all these guys, they are selling at a volume and with a decent price. Likewise, in Pune, we were doing, Godrej were doing, and other players, they were also maintaining. And Bombay market also, you see Oberoi, Sunteck, and other players. So I think branded players are maintaining their prices and they are selling with a decent volume. While we can't be compared with the other players because there can be n number of objectives. One, if the land prices are very cheap, they would love to monetize the land and invest somewhere else. Second, if there are cash flow crunches, then they'll cut their inventory at X price. So we believe that people understand when they sit with the brand, they will never ask you 15-20% sort of discount. That much sensibility is there in the customer's mindset. And they believe that. They generally try to see that when the offers are going to come, what kind of payment schedule benefits they can take it from the branded players, and they purchase. So there is still a segment of customers who wants to buy a branded house, who wants to be the with the quality developers, and those customers would be the right TG for us, rather than we are targeting to a customer who is going only behind price.
Right. And with this, Gopal, very lastly, in terms of where the financing bit is concerned, now what's the trend that you're picking up? Now, okay, if someone is reselling an existing house and coming to your house, the financial bit is not too much because they're already getting the money from there to put it into the new house. But when someone is going to buy the house for the first time, when they are looking at loans, housing loans, what is the kind of trend you're picking up? Because a lot of people tell us right now that they are getting disbursement approvals. However, disbursements are not happening yet on the housing finance loan side. Is that an issue which you're facing as well when you have to give deliveries and possessions?
So I'll be very honest with you, Hiral. I think pre-COVID, there were no such situation. Everything was moving smooth. But in the month of April and May, yes, we did face such kind of scenario because banks were not ready.
Correct.
Ready with their processes post COVID atmosphere. So what they did, they were completely into the wait and watch mode, and they have not disbursed in spite of the registered cases, in spite of their sanction letters. What they have done is that they have come up with the processes, and now they are releasing. Now they are doing, they are asking their customers for 3 months pay slip. They are checking how much deduction has happened, who has been thrown out of the organization, who has got the pink slips, and basis which they are deriving their disbursements. As such, Kolte Patil, in our portfolio, we have also gone and do a complete testing of the same. Suppose whatever current 3,000, 2,500 customers are lying, out of which hardly 1% customers have got a hit. Rest of the customers' portfolio is intact. And we are seeing now the disbursement coming back to the normalcy. So April and May month, as I've said, we were at 35-40%, but June we are witnessing that the collections are flowing into 55. So yes, that trend is there. Banks are slow on the disbursement. They won't be able to come up with attractive payment schemes. But there are still good segment of customers who have their jobs intact. They are earning decently and they can easily afford to that price segment. We called it as MIG, luxury or super luxury. And that's the demand which is flowing into the system. So 5% here and there on all those parameters are possible. But at a larger level, the collections are flowing into the system.
Right, collections are flowing in as well. I'm hoping that this year remains good for everyone as well. Thank you, Gopal. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Great insights that we've picked up, especially with regards to how the markets have been performing right now. And hope that you also stay safe right now in these uncertain times.
Thank you, Hiral. Thanks for the opportunity. See you soon. Bye.